Once we get to October, you start to think about the holiday travel season and what that could look like, especially this year while we have a government shutdown with no end in sight. So I want to bring in now Drew MacQueen. He is the National Association of Air Traffic Controllers. Great Lakes Regional Vice President. Let's talk a little bit more about what you all are going through and where we go from here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Where we go from here, look, it's been obviously a stressful time, a lot of uncertainty for our controllers. The job is already hard enough, stressful enough. Most controllers, if the public doesn't know, most controllers, the system is already critically staffed. They're already working 6-day work weeks, mandatory overtime, 10-hour days. So the added stress on top of that, of now worrying about when and if you're going to get a paycheck, just adds another level on top of it that our controllers simply just don't need.
So GOP leaders have issued an early warning for air travel on Thanksgiving week. Do you feel like it's too early to give this warning, or no, we need to sound the alarms now?
Well, I think we're all hopeful, right? This thing will be, over soon. We urge our elected leaders to, go back to DC, do their job, end the government shutdown today. But our message is clear. Air traffic controllers are going to show up to work. They're going to do their job day in and day out, like they've been doing this entire time. Certainly, we run the safest national airspace system in the world. And we like to tell people, look, controllers didn't start the shutdown. We are certainly not going to end it. That's not our job. Our job is to get, airplanes to and from where they're going, get everybody's cargo to and from where it's going. And we are going to continue doing that day in and day out.
You say air traffic controllers are going to show up, do their jobs, but there are some issues that we're starting to see at some airports. Is that not a fair fact?
Well, I think, look, you're certainly seeing maybe a little uptick here and there, but certainly the majority of controllers are coming to work, doing their job day in and day out. Like I said before, the system is about 3,800 certified controllers short. So again, it's some of our critically staffed facilities like Chicago O'Hare, like Chicago Tracon. When you do have controllers who call in sick from time to time because they are human, they do get sick, they have children that get sick, it does throw the system off. So again, like I like to say all the time, there were disruptions and delays before the shutdown. There'll be disruptions and delays during a shutdown, and there will be after a shutdown. And those aren't necessarily due to a shutdown. Those are due to a system that's already critically staffed, very fragile, running on a thin razor's edge. And again, I think now everybody's just highlighting the shutdown and looking, to maybe the controllers, not coming to work as a cause for maybe delays. And like I said, there have been delays before. So.
Certainly. But we're, addressing compounding issues here, as you mentioned. You all were sounding the alarm about that well before the government shutdown. So how does it feel to now have this happen? And yes, there's more attention on what you were already going through.
Yeah, look, I think you're right. We've been sounding the alarm bells for years. O'Hare Tower, for example, has been critically staffed since 2013. We've been, like I said, raising that alarm bell forever. That the system needs help. We need certified controllers, and luckily, Secretary Duffy has heard that message, and they're doing everything they can to get more controllers into the system. And fortunately, we have been making good progress and good strides in that. And what we're concerned about is this shutdown may stop that process. For now, it's continuing, but if it drags on for much longer, it might interfere with controllers getting hired, which is just going to prolong the problem of our critically staffed facilities even longer.
Yeah, and flights hit record numbers last year, as I'm seeing, while delays and cancellations were pretty low last year. What are your projections for this year, shutdown or not?
Look, I think the shutdown, the projections are going to keep going up, right? again, I think that, like I said before, we run the safest national airspace system in the world. And again, I don't see any reason that, flights are going to stop flying, and people are going to stop going anywhere. So again, we certainly expect those projections to keep going up.
Okay, so what do you think people should do or be mindful of as we get closer and people are kind of thinking like, okay, the shutdown is continuing to go and I'm about to book my flight, or should I book my flight? What should people be thinking about?
Well, look, I think people should be thinking about just simply this, right? That, I would always call ahead, make sure. But again, like I said before, our message is clear. We are going to come to work, do our job, get the traveling public to and from where they are going to go. And again, but I will say this, the more this drags on, the more it adds another level of stress, another level of risk into the system. Controllers that should be focused on doing their job at hand now are having in the back of their mind, how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to pay the car payment? How am I going to pay daycare for my kids so I can come to work? It is certainly another level of stress that you are forcing these people into, in a situation you could be forcing them into, where some of them, especially at our lower level facilities, that have to go look for other income streams. They might have to drive Uber, deliver pizza at night, waitress, waiter. So again, it is another thing on top of what they're already dealing with that simply doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, and what were some of the airports that maybe have, you mentioned O'Hare, but like what are some of the other airports, if we're looking at travel, you might hit multiple airports. So what are some of the other airports that are kind of having bigger issues than others?
Well, look, I think, all airports, I think, again, like I said, the system is critically staffed, just not Chicago, just not in New York. I mean, the system overall and as a total is critically staffed. So again, I don't think it matters where you go. I think that everybody needs to understand how fragile the system actually is. And again, and how much extra stress and another level of risk that the shutdown is putting on top of a system that's already, just getting by. We just don't need it. We need the shutdown to end today.
Okay, well, thank you for making some time for us, and please keep us updated as we, continue. There's no end in sight to the shutdown, so we'd really like to hear from you regularly about how things are going for your workers.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.